My friends, respect is not something we beg for, it is not something we chase, and it is not something the world randomly decides to give us. Respect is the fragrance of self-worth. When you carry yourself with dignity, when you align your life with higher values, respect flows towards you naturally. But the problem is, most of us accept less than what we deserve in relationships, in friendships, in work, and even in how we treat ourselves. The truth is, the day you stop accepting less is the day people start respecting you, because the world will never value you more than you value yourself. And the highest form of self-value comes when you remember you are not just flesh and bones, you are a soul connected with the Supreme, a creation of God worthy of honor, worthy of love, worthy of respect. So today, let's reflect deeply together. How do we stop accepting less and start living in the dignity that God intended for us? Respect starts here, and it starts now. Respect begins with self-respect, and this is where the journey of true dignity starts. You see, many of us spend our lives waiting for others to acknowledge our worth. We crave compliments, we long for validation, and we hope people will treat us with kindness and fairness. But the reality is this: no matter how much we wait, if we do not learn to respect ourselves first, nothing outside can ever fill that emptiness within. Respect is not a gift someone hands you. It is a mirror that reflects how you see yourself. The world often treats you in the way you allow yourself to be treated. If you live small, think small, and carry yourself as if you are undeserving, people will treat you the same way. But the moment you rise with the awareness that you are a soul created by God, filled with infinite potential and divine light, something shifts. You stop begging for recognition because you realize that respect begins when you honor yourself. Think about it. If you constantly criticize yourself, if you talk down to yourself, if you tell yourself, I am not enough, I can't do this, I don't deserve better, you are already accepting less from life. You are lowering the value of your own being. Imagine someone owning a diamond but treating it like a piece of glass, leaving it in the dirt, tossing it around carelessly, letting others trample on it. Would anyone around them think that diamond is valuable? No. But the moment that same person polishes it, places it in a velvet box, and handles it with care, suddenly everyone recognizes it as something precious. That diamond was always valuable, but the treatment determined whether people respected it or not. In the same way, you are that diamond. Your soul, your dignity, your inner light, all of it is priceless. But unless you recognize your own worth and carry yourself accordingly, no one else will. Everyday life gives us small examples of this truth. Think of the workplace. There are people who do extra work, sacrifice their time, bend over backward, yet they never ask for recognition, and deep inside they don't even believe they deserve more. What happens? Their effort is taken for granted. But then there are people who know their limits, who deliver with quality, who stand firmly for fairness, not in arrogance, but in confidence, and they naturally command respect. The difference is not in talent alone, it is in the respect they have for themselves. Or think about friendships and relationships. How many times do we keep quiet when someone disrespects us just to keep the peace? How often do we tolerate being ignored, belittled, or undervalued because we are afraid of losing someone? And yet what happens? By accepting less, we teach others that it is okay to treat us this way. We give them silent permission to disrespect us again and again. But the day we learn to say, I love myself enough not to accept this treatment, is the day we reclaim our self-respect. That decision is not about arrogance or ego, It is about self-honor. Even in small personal habits, self-respect is visible. If you respect your health, you will not fill your body with junk. If you respect your mind, you will not waste it on gossip or negativity. If you respect your time, you will not squander it on meaningless distractions. And if you respect your heart, you will not give it away carelessly to people who don't value it. Every small act of discipline and self-care is a declaration to the world, I respect myself. The deepest foundation of self-respect comes from remembering that you are not ordinary. You are not just a body moving through routine days. You are a soul, a spark of the divine, a creation of God. When you realize that God has placed unique talents, wisdom, and purpose inside you, how can you ever think of yourself as less? How can you look down upon yourself when the very energy that sustains the universe flows within you? To disrespect yourself is to disrespect the one who created you. And to respect yourself is to honor the divine who resides in you. Once this awareness becomes part of your heart, you no longer need to beg for respect. You no longer crave endless approval from people. You walk with quiet dignity because you know that your worth is not up for negotiation, and that quiet dignity commands more respect than any loud demand ever could. People are drawn to those who carry themselves with self-respect because it radiates strength, balance, and confidence. So ask yourself, in which areas of life are you still accepting less than you deserve? Is it in your relationships, where you allow someone to ignore your worth? Is it in your workplace, where you settle for less recognition than your effort deserves? Or is it within your own mind, where you allow self-doubt and self-criticism to eat away at your inner strength? Wherever it is, remember this: respect begins the moment you decide you will no longer accept less. Respecting yourself does not mean thinking you are better than others. It means understanding you are equal, valuable, and worthy. It means treating yourself with the same kindness, patience, and care that you give to others. And when you practice that consistently, the world mirrors it back to you. Respect flows naturally to the one who already lives in it. My friends, carry yourself today like that diamond, polished, valued, honored. Do not allow yourself to be treated as anything less. You are God's creation, meant to walk with dignity. And the moment you choose self-respect, you light the path for others to respect you as well. Set boundaries, not walls. This is one of the most powerful lessons in the journey of respect, because boundaries are not about pushing people away. They are about teaching others how to treat you while still keeping your heart open. Too often, we confuse boundaries with coldness. We think if we say no, people will stop loving us. If we speak up, others will think we are arrogant. If we protect our peace, others may call us selfish. But the truth is exactly the opposite. Boundaries are not selfish, they are sacred. They are a declaration that you honor yourself enough not to allow your dignity to be compromised. Boundaries are the gentle but firm lines we draw to protect our energy, our values, and our inner balance, while still loving and caring for others. In daily life, you see this everywhere. Imagine a friend who constantly calls you late at night, disturbing your rest, draining your energy, but every time you pick up because you don't want to upset them, slowly you begin to feel resentment, frustration, and exhaustion. You start blaming them, but deep inside, you know you never taught them how to treat you. The moment you say lovingly but firmly, I care for you, but I cannot take calls after this time because I need to rest, you set a boundary. You didn't build a wall, you didn't push them out of your life. You simply taught them that your time and your health are valuable. And strangely, when you set that boundary, instead of losing respect, you often gain it. Because people respect those who respect themselves. Or think of the workplace. Maybe you are someone who always says yes to every extra task, every unreasonable deadline, every demand, even when it crushes your personal time. At first, people may praise your willingness, but eventually they take it for granted. You become the one who is always expected to sacrifice. But the day you begin to say, I am happy to help, but I also have other priorities and responsibilities, you set a healthy boundary, and while some may resist at first, over time they begin to respect your clarity. Boundaries don't diminish your kindness, they protect it from being exploited. The challenge is, most of us fear setting boundaries because we think it will break our connections. But walls and boundaries are different. Walls shut people out completely. They come from hurt, anger, or fear. Boundaries, on the other hand, come from wisdom. They allow you to stay connected while ensuring you do not lose yourself in the process. A wall says, stay away, I don't trust you. A boundary says, I love you, I respect you. But this is how I need to be treated if our relationship is to remain healthy. And there is a huge difference between the two. Even in family life, boundaries are necessary. Think of a parent who loves their child but never says no. Out of love, they give in to every demand, never correcting them, never guiding them. What happens? The child grows without discipline, without understanding limits, and eventually disrespects the very parent who gave everything. On the other hand, when a parent sets clear but loving boundaries, teaching respect, instilling discipline, the child grows to respect not just the parent but themselves. This shows us that love without boundaries can harm, but love with boundaries nurtures. Boundaries are also spiritual. When you set a boundary, you are not only respecting yourself, but also honoring the God within you. Your body, your mind, your energy are gifts from the divine. To allow others to misuse them without restraint is to show disregard for that gift. Think of your life like a sacred temple. You don't let just anyone walk in with muddy shoes, speak loudly, or cause damage. You keep the temple clean, serene, and pure because you know it holds something holy. In the same way, setting boundaries is about keeping your inner temple, your peace, your dignity, your values, protected and pure. A powerful example can be seen in friendships. Suppose you have a friend who constantly mocks your dreams, belittles your efforts, or drains you with negativity. If you continue to accept it silently, you are letting them trample over your self-respect. But when you say, I value our friendship, but I cannot engage in conversations that only tear me down, you are not cutting them off. You are setting a boundary. You are showing them the terms on which your respect will continue. And if they truly value you, they will adjust. If they don't, then you know their place in your life was only temporary. Either way, you remain at peace. Setting boundaries requires courage because you risk disapproval. But the truth is, people who genuinely love and respect you will understand your limits. Those who don't were never meant to stay close. Boundaries filter your relationships. They separate those who are with you for convenience from those who are with you for respect. And isn't that what true respect is about? Not being surrounded by many who drain you, but by few who value you. And remember, the way you set boundaries also matters. It should not be done with anger, shouting, or bitterness. Boundaries, when set with calmness and clarity, hold more power than 1,000 arguments. A soft but firm no carries more strength than a loud, resentful yes. Because at the end of the day, boundaries are not about others, they are about you. They are about protecting your peace so that you can give the best of yourself to the world. So ask yourself, where in life do you need to set boundaries? Is it with a friend who drains your energy? Is it with a colleague who exploits your kindness? Is it with yourself when you give in to habits that harm your growth? Wherever it is, remember that a boundary is not a rejection, it is a declaration of self-respect. And when you live with self-respect, you invite others to treat you with the same honor. Stop settling for toxic relationships. This is one of the hardest but most liberating decisions a person can make in life. Many times we stay in connections that drain us, friendships that belittle us, and relationships that suffocate us, not because we don't see the damage, but because we fear being alone, we fear change, or we believe that this is all we deserve. But when you truly respect yourself, you stop allowing your life to be poisoned by negativity disguised as love, loyalty, or companionship. Respect demands that you choose quality over quantity, peace over chaos, and dignity over unhealthy attachment. Think about it. How many people continue to stay in friendships where they are always the ones giving, always the ones adjusting, always the ones sacrificing, while the other person only takes, criticizes, and demands more? They know deep inside that the relationship is unbalanced, that it is hurting their confidence, but they convince themselves, at least I have someone, at least I'm not alone. But is being surrounded by people who dim your light better than walking alone with your dignity? The truth is, it is not. Walking alone with peace is far more valuable than walking with a crowd that constantly disrespects you. Toxic relationships come in many forms. Sometimes it is a friend who always mocks your dreams, telling you that you are not capable enough. Sometimes it is a partner who manipulates your emotions, making you feel guilty for things you didn't even do. Sometimes it is a colleague who constantly drains your energy with negativity, gossip, or unfair behavior. And sometimes it is even family members who use love as a tool to control and restrict you. Toxicity is not always loud, it can be subtle. It can come in the form of constant criticism, silent neglect, or emotional manipulation. But whatever the form, the effect is always the same. It eats away at your self-respect. Now, stopping yourself from settling for these relationships doesn't mean you suddenly cut everyone out and live in isolation. It means you develop the courage to recognize which connections uplift you and which ones drag you down. Respectful relationships are like sunlight. They nourish your growth, they give you warmth, they encourage you to blossom. Toxic relationships are like shadows. They follow you, but only keep you in darkness. When you stop settling for the shadows, you make space for the sunlight to enter your life. A simple daily life example is a student who has a group of friends always distracting him, pulling him into habits that waste time and destroy focus. He knows he wants to achieve something bigger, but he stays with them because he doesn't want to feel left out. Slowly, his grades fall, his confidence drops, and he begins to doubt his own abilities. The day he decides to step away, even if it means being alone for a while, is the day he starts reclaiming his self-respect. Within time, he finds new friends who share his values, and he realizes that leaving the toxic group was the best decision he ever made. This is the power of refusing to settle. The most dangerous belief that traps us in toxicity is thinking, maybe they will change. But real change comes only when people want to change, not when we keep tolerating their disrespect. By staying silent, by accepting less, we actually encourage the other person to to continue their toxic behavior. It is like giving permission for the cycle to repeat. But when you step up and say, I will no longer accept this treatment, you send a clear message, not just to them, but also to yourself, that your self-respect matters more than temporary comfort. It is important to remember that stopping yourself from settling doesn't come from arrogance. It comes from love for yourself and love for God who created you. If the Creator has given you a soul full of light and potential, why should you let anyone dim it? Respecting yourself enough to walk away from toxicity is not just about protecting your peace. It is about honoring the divine spark within you. You are not meant to live in emotional prisons. You are meant to live with freedom, dignity, and love. Of course, letting go is not easy. Toxic relationships often come wrapped in years of history, emotions, and attachments. The heart resists because it fears the emptiness that may follow. But remember this, emptiness is not always a curse. Sometimes it is a blessing. When you empty your life of what is harmful, you create room for what is healing. When you walk away from disrespect, you open the door for true respect to enter. And the silence that follows leaving a toxic bond often becomes the soil where self-respect, peace, and new beginnings grow. So ask yourself today, are you holding on to any relationships that shrink you, belittle you, or drain you? Are you mistaking toxicity for loyalty, chaos for love, or manipulation for care? If you are, then remember this. Respect starts when you stop settling for less. You don't need to carry people who break your spirit. You don't need to prove your worth to those who never see it. And you don't need to beg for respect from those who are incapable of giving it. The moment you decide that you will no longer tolerate relationships that devalue your soul, you rise to a higher standard. And when you rise, you naturally attract people who see you for who you are, who honor your boundaries, who celebrate your growth, and who walk with you in respect. That is the reward of refusing to settle. You don't just lose toxicity, you gain true connections. Your energy attracts your respect. Every single day, whether you realize it or not, you are sending signals into the world about how you see yourself, how you carry yourself, and how you expect to be treated. Respect is not demanded through loud voices or constant reminders. It is commanded through the quiet, steady presence of your character, your discipline, and your energy. People observe far more than they listen. They may forget your words, but they rarely forget the way you carry yourself, the way you handle challenges, and the way you live. Respect is not about forcing others to recognize you. It is about living in such a way that recognition becomes inevitable. Think of someone who walks into a room. Without saying a word, you can sometimes sense their energy, their posture, their calmness, the way they engage with others. It all speaks louder than any speech. And then, think of another person who constantly tries to impress, who loudly demands attention, who constantly seeks validation. Which one do people respect more? The one who doesn't need to shout. Because true respect is not earned by chasing it, it is earned by embodying it. Your energy becomes your silent introduction before you ever speak a word. Daily life shows us many examples of this truth. Imagine two students in a classroom. One of them is always talking about how smart he is, how much he knows, how he will definitely succeed. The other quietly focuses on his work, consistently shows discipline, and never brags about his abilities. When exam results come, the second student's discipline and humility earn him not just success but respect. The first student may get attention for a while, but respect gravitates toward the one whose energy reflects sincerity and steadiness. Respect always flows toward consistency, not noise. The way you speak also reveals your energy. If your words are filled with anger, gossip, or constant complaints, people may listen to you for entertainment, but they won't respect you. On the other hand, if your words uplift, if they heal, if they reflect thoughtfulness, people are drawn to you naturally. They begin to see you as someone who carries wisdom, someone worth listening to. Respect doesn't follow empty words, it follows words spoken from a heart aligned with truth and discipline. Even in the workplace, energy decides respect. A leader who constantly shouts at employees may be feared, but is rarely respected. But a leader who carries patience, listens attentively, guides firmly yet kindly, attracts natural respect. Their energy communicates authority without aggression, strength without arrogance. People do not just follow instructions. They follow the energy of the person giving them. This shows that respect is not about position, it is about presence. Now, where does this energy come from? It comes from discipline and alignment with values. If you respect your time, if you respect your commitments, if you show up consistently, people begin to respect you automatically. For example, think of a person who always arrives late, who never follows through on promises, who speaks big but delivers little. Over time, no matter how talented they are, their energy tells the world, I cannot be relied upon, and respect begins to fade. But the one who arrives on time, who keeps their word, who works with dedication, even if quietly, commands respect, because their energy tells the world, I honor myself and I honor you. There's also something deeply spiritual about energy. When you live in alignment with your higher self, when you remember that you are a soul connected to God, your energy naturally radiates calmness and strength. People may not understand why they feel drawn to you, but they feel it. That's because respect is not just intellectual. It's also spiritual. When someone carries the fragrance of inner peace, humility, and dignity, others sense it without explanation. It's like being near a flower. You don't need the flower to announce its fragrance, you just experience it. Similarly, when your energy is aligned with respect, people experience it simply by being around you. Even in small, everyday interactions, your energy makes a difference. For instance, imagine going to a shop. The shopkeeper is busy, tired, and treating customers rudely. But then another customer comes in, smiling, speaking kindly, showing patience. The shopkeeper's energy softens. Why? Because the respectful energy of that one customer changed the atmosphere. This shows us that respect is not only something you attract, it's also something you create with your own energy. But here is the key: you cannot fake energy. You cannot pretend discipline. You cannot pretend humility. You cannot pretend consistency for long. Energy is an authentic reflection of who you are. If your inner world is filled with chaos, negativity, or self-doubt, it will eventually leak into your outer presence. But if your inner world is filled with balance, confidence, and alignment with God's truth, your presence will radiate that. Respect will flow naturally to you because people respect authenticity more than perfection. Ask yourself, what is the energy I am carrying every day? Do I walk with the energy of someone who respects themselves, who values their own time, their own words, their own character? Or do I walk with the energy of someone who constantly doubts, constantly apologizes, constantly accepts less than they deserve? Remember, your energy teaches people how to treat you before you even speak. So begin by aligning your energy with dignity. Speak with clarity, not with desperation. Walk with confidence, not with arrogance. Show up with consistency, not with excuses. Treat yourself with honor, and that honor will reflect in every interaction you have. The world cannot help but respect someone whose energy radiates self-respect. And the most beautiful part is this: when your energy changes, the world around you changes too.